Sierra has taken to her new domain rather quickly, although she still gets stuck to the carpet. I am wearing my pants that my friend had me buy because she thinks I need to own a pair of pants like this, and I'm chilling, literally, it's kind of cold, in my new house. Hey viewers, my name's Cara. I'm your Tuesday host on the Pagan Perspective, and this week we're talking about families and raising families pagan. Quick update on my life. I told you last week that by this week I'd probably be in my new house, and I'm here. I'm recording this on Monday night. I spent all day today moving my stuff. I got the keys last Wednesday, but I had to wait till today for my brother to help me move the big stuff. So now I'm here. Everything's a mess. Nothing is put in its permanent position pretty much. There's a lot of work to be done, but at least now everything is here. So every day after work and after rehearsal for the show that I'm in, I can unpack things and put them away at my leisure. And the cat's here now, and Kitty Lizard's here now. There's Kitty Lizard. And there's Kitty. Oh, look at her. Yay. We're talking about pagan families, Sierra. So I don't know if I'm going to edit this tonight before I go to bed. It's already like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was literally moving things all day. Or if I'll edit this tomorrow morning when I wake up, and then probably upload it at work because I don't have internet at my house yet. So anyway, the topic will be in the description as usual. And the question is about pagan families and whether we are or will or are planning to raise our families pagan, especially if we plan on having children. I should probably actually get out the computer and reread it. I know I have a couple of topics to touch on, but I want to make sure I get everything, so I'm going to have to get out the computer. Okay, hold please. Okay, so the actual wording is, how have you or how will you practice your faith with your family, especially if you have or plan on having children? If you were raised as a pagan, did your family celebrate pagan festivals, traditions, etc.? I was not raised pagan, I was raised Catholic, but my mom has a lot of the same beliefs as me, which you guys, if you watch her channel, if you've seen her videos on my channel that she's done with me or on Pagan Perspective, she was a special guest of mine once or twice, then you'll know she has some very similar sensibilities. But no, I was not raised pagan, so that one doesn't apply to me. How do you plan on celebrating your faith with your family, or do you think you'll choose not to share your faith with your children? This reminded me of some interviews I was reading in the book Modern Pagans, which I read at the end of last year, which I highly recommend. It's on my witchy book recommendations list on my blog now, which I will link to if I remember. Otherwise, go to my blog, which is thewitchystuff.blogspot.com. The link is in the description of all of my personal channel videos. Go under the Frequently Asked Questions tab, and it's linked under there. Modern Pagans, some of the interviews, people were talking about how in decades past in the United States, I forget when, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, whenever it was, that pagans were sort of coming out as more of a thing, more of an open faith and doing more with that. They were talking about how it was looked down upon to raise your children pagan, because people thought of it as, you know, like, well, we were raised in our family's religions and we didn't agree with that, so we shouldn't do that to our kids. And the idea was for them to grow up and learn on their own and make their own decisions. But what the people who were being interviewed and talking about this were saying was that for a lot of people that led to them not having any sort of roots, not having any sort of system to even begin with, and then they just didn't adopt any, or they were really kind of lost and had nowhere to go from. So I definitely do not personally like the idea of just not sharing my faith with my kids at all. It's a big part of my life, and they're going to be a big part of my life, so I definitely want to share that with them. And ever since my practice began, even when I was 12, you know, I'm not ready to have kids now, but the whole time I was sort of planning it as a thing that I would eventually pass on, and what things could I pass on. From the beginning, I've known that there are things about my path that I would only share with my kids. So, but no, I don't want it to be something where I force them into it. Of course not. But I do plan to include my kids in my religion and say, you know, this is what I follow, and you're very welcome to join me and learn about it, and I'll show you, you know, whatever you want to be shown, whatever you want to try, let's do that. I'll teach them things. I'll read them stories, I'll tell them stories, I will teach them different skills, I'll include them in my celebrations if they want. But if they ever elect not to join me, then that will be okay. It'll be a little hard for me, I'm sure. But that's my plan, and I've seen that work with other people. My friends' kids join us in circle, or they don't. Some, 1 month they don't feel like it that day, and the next month they're really excited to join us. It just depends. So I've seen that work. And hypothetically, if I were to have kids with the person that I am in a relationship with now, who is an atheist, I know that we would also have family traditions related to the Christian holidays, because as an atheist, his family being very non-religious, they do celebrate Christmas as a family holiday. So things like that would definitely be incorporated. So it would be family-based, and it would just be kind of like, well, this is what mommy and daddy, or mommy and whoever, believe, and then what do you believe? Especially with kids, I really like doing crafts, and I like doing crafts in general, and I like doing crafty things to celebrate the holidays, but I think especially if I were celebrating it with kids, I would make it a lot about what can we do, what can we get our hands into, what can we make that represents this holiday, and yeah, so a lot of that would definitely be happening with me in a family situation. And how I share it with my family now, well, I don't have a family of my own, but I talk about it openly with my very close friends and with my relationship partner and things like that. So, and it's the same kind of thing. I'm open about it. I invite people to things. I welcome them to join or ask questions or whatever, but if they don't want to, that's fine. I do my own thing. So I think I will be much the same, but you never know. Things will totally change. I just moved into my own place. I'm not even going to think about having kids yet. So, things could change drastically, but I plan to still be making videos all that time, so I guess we'll find out. One more thing I want to mention before I end this video, though, is that I do also attend a Unitarian Universalist church, and Unitarian Universalism is focused on having a free and responsible search for your own truth and teaching all sorts of different beliefs and traditions. And I think that bringing kids up in a UU community really gives them a lot of opportunity to learn about different beliefs. However, I know it does depend on the congregation because, for example, the girl that I roomed with in college was raised Unitarian Universalist, but her church didn't do a lot of the actual religious education of teaching them about different faiths. So she just kind of grew up learning to be accepting and tolerant of all faiths and that all faiths are cool, but didn't really learn about them individually. So her personal feeling was that she grew up with no focus and that she was taught to believe in and respect all religions equally, so that makes her feel like she doesn't believe anything in particular. And for her, that was not a thing that she doesn't like feeling that way. I don't know how she is now, but the last time I spoke to her about spiritual things, that was her opinion. But then I know other people who are absolutely cool not having any specific focus of belief, and that's good for them. And then there are the kids who are being brought up in my church community, my personal church's community, who I feel really do get a really good education of the various different beliefs. So I feel like they're brought up in this community where they can learn about everything and we won't judge them for it, and they can ask questions and they can learn about one thing one week and switch to something else the next week. And we just kind of realize, like, okay, that's what they're doing now, and that's what they're learning about now, and that's what they're interested in now. So I don't know, I think it really depends on the community, but I think that being raised in a Unitarian Universalist setting or community is really beneficial as well. So I do plan on my kids knowing my religion and bringing them up and involving my family in it from a pagan focus, but also maybe involving them in a UU church community for a little more outreach beyond the family. So it is 1:28 a.m. on Tuesday, and I need to go to bed. So I'm going to edit this really quick, as little editing as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next month, because next week is subs week, and by next month, a couple weeks, who knows where I'll be filming from. Who knows? I don't know. Night, Sierra. Night, everyone. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.